Welcome, and today we are going to study about the basics of web development that you should know even if you are just a vibe coder. And I know a lot of you guys think that you could just build landing pages or something similar to it without even knowing web development. That's your biggest mistake, and that's why you will fail, and that's why you will break your laptops, and that's why you will say that ChatGPT is not the best or not neither of the other AI models, because it's actually you who doesn't know about web development basics. So just for you, so that nobody scams you or you just neither scam yourself, I have made this tutorial. Let's start with what is front end development actually. So I actually wasted my time writing this so that you could get it for free and just have a look and learn about something about at least of web development. Now, what is front end development? Actually, websites are divided into two things. One is the front end, which as you can see, and the other thing is back end, which actually you cannot see but it exists. So before starting out, let me give you an example of something. Let's draw something so that you could understand. So as I said, websites are divided into two things. One that you can see, it's called front end development, and you should know because websites are actually developed in two parts, or you could say two differentiation of websites. One is static websites and one are the dynamic ones. So what's the main difference between the static one and the dynamic one? Basically, static websites are the websites which doesn't need to get changed, while dynamic websites are the one that needs to change. So while developing the static site, you must know something, that is that the data that you will be putting on these sites will always remain, while the data that you will be putting on the dynamic sites will not remain, as it will be dynamically changing. Now it's important. Why it's important? Because in some cases, like landing pages, for example, let's go to this landing page and let me help you. Let's go to this landing page. Okay, so now basically what happens when you create a landing page and you don't need to change stuff, that means that you are just creating a funnel based landing page. You don't need to change static content, so it will remain always the same, or you could just change in a month or quarterly. But while working with e-commerce brands or developing something like Amazon or Flipkart or something like that, you need to change things because you will be selling stuff, you will be providing discounts, and you will be doing other things as well. So at that time you will be developing dynamic websites. Now these are some basics. Let's move on and understand what is front end. Whatever you could see is front end, whatever you could not see is back end, and the users don't need to see those stuff. That's why we put in the back end. Now what is front end? Well, if you are a developer, you should be knowing some basic things about developing front end, like when we use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all those kind of things to develop something. But as you are vibe coders who don't understand, so before the invention of AI programming or AI models actually, and then the vibe coders, there was a thing called web developers, and those people used to study coding so they could create something. And that's why we have frameworks and libraries that you can use to develop something. Now, to make it more understandable to you, I've written some stories and real world example as well, so that you could understand what is front end and how it could be made. Now let's move on to backend. As I said, backend is something that a user doesn't need to see. That means it doesn't even care about the backend. It doesn't care how many what's the prices of your, what are your discounts, what is the authentication, and all those kind of complex stuff a user doesn't need, and you shouldn't bother them with that. That's why it's go to backend. The example of it is the, as I said, authentication system. Whenever someone comes log in, you give it an authentication system. So that's one of the things that you should know. Now, why we need backend, why we need authentication? Well, actually, it's like the security guard. Whenever you go to a nightclub and if you don't have any tickets or any pass to get in, obviously they will kick you out and you deserve it. That's why the same thing. If you doesn't own that account, you cannot just log in and use it. Now let's come to the third part, which are APIs. So now, whenever we need to communicate from front end to back end, a lot of time we use APIs to do this work. They are actually work like restaurant waiters. So when you go to a restaurant, it doesn't go into the kitchen and say, hey, give me this or give me that. You actually ask the waiter and waiter brings only what you need. One of the use case is that when if you go to a restaurant, they don't even give you everything on the menu. Obviously don't need everything. Similarly, if you doesn't need everything on the database, there is no need for them to render it. But a restaurant waiter will always bring whatever you ask it to, and that's what the APIs do. That's why we use APIs. Actually, it only returns what you need and what you require, and it is one of the basic things that a person should know while developing anything. So you vibe coders also should know some basic things. Well, now let's move to the middleware. That's actually a little bit complex topic, but you should know. If you are like building an e-commerce website where users must log in before accessing their shopping cart, so the actual duty of a middleware is there to check whether you have the access or not. For example, if you are someone who's trying to check your shopping cart, you must be logged in, right? If you are not logged in, how it can show you actually what you have been adding to your shopping cart. The real life example of it, if you could assume that you are a rich guy who goes to a VIP lounge for a coffee. Now, to access the VIP lounge, you need to show the proof, that means the card, and the guy who is checking your card is actually a middleware. So you could understand this in this simpler way. Now, to take you a further step, you should know about databases. So you vibe coders should know that whatever you are storing on your website or all the contents, that actually gets stored into a something called database. So databases are actually present on your backend where you store everything. You need a secure database, and it's actually a complex topic that you should know, but you should at least have a little bit knowledge about database. What are databases? Actually, databases are like a library. So again, an example, just like a library, you sort every books, you will find everything related to your needs, or everything across various subjects will be present in a library. That's what your database do. Everything that is needed on your site, your offers, images, links to your images, your content, about description, everything will be present on a database, and you will only render what the user asks. It also actually helps you to filter some things out, so make sure that you have a database knowledge as well. Now let's go to the most important part, that's called web security, and that's why one of the reasons that vibe coding, before doing vibe coding, you should have a knowledge, because you must have seen that LinkedIn post where a person shared his all the journey of developing SaaS with vibe coding, and then he find out that people were able to bypass his APIs to access all the premium stuff without even purchasing. And that happens when you don't even have a simple knowledge about web security. And that's why you should know about basic HTTP protocols, then the authentication, then SQL injection. What are these kinds of things? So in an overview, why you need first of all security. So obviously, if you are creating an online banking system, you are not going to create that thing first of all. But imagine if you are creating that kind of thing, and if someone comes and takes all your money just because you didn't added any security check, you didn't added any authentication, what you're going to do? or if someone comes and ruins your database or gets all the data from your database because you didn't even know how to protect your database. So the web security is basically one of the things that you should know. But if you are coding a landing page that doesn't even need anything else, so it's not going to be a big deal for you, but still you need at least HTTPS for securing your website that you can get from any domain provider. Now deployment and hosting, it's the other thing that you shouldn't be concerned of. You could just use a platform like Vercel that self deploys everything. And now we are going to create a landing page through vibe coding so that you don't miss anything and you don't need to actually. Alright, vibe coders, now we will be developing a landing page so that you could have an idea about how to develop this stuff. So first of all, I am a developer but you are not, so I'm gonna act like I'm also a vibe coder as well. So what we are gonna do, we will ask ChatGPT, we will actually gaslight it. We will say it that you are an expert in web development. Alright, you have developed lot of landing pages for SaaS startups. Now you will help me to develop one. Give me all the steps that I should know while developing it. Also give me each sections of the landing page and the content. Assume the SaaS platform name is SHD Straw Hat Developers. Right? This is how you will ask the AI model to actually create an overview and whatever things that needs to be done. So obviously it will give you some steps to plan and all these things, then whatever things that you will be needing in your website. As a vibe coder, you don't need to care about it because you will be just copy pasting everything. So here's what will happen. Now we will go to VO that is developed by Vercel and we will ask it create a landing page for SaaS platform named SHD with the below contents. Make sure to develop it in Next.js, as Next.js is one of the easiest and the best possible framework that is available for you, and every vibe coder should use Next.js only, because if you go into more in-depth or more complex frameworks, you will need to have some coding knowledge, and that's where the things will get complicated. So go for the Next.js, it's easy. Now we just gonna copy paste. As I said, we will be just copy pasting everything. Okay, first we will give it this. You just give it the basic layout, what it needs to develop. Okay, then we will just give it more data. We could just only copy these things and just paste it over here, remove this part which isn't needed and just enter. Okay, now we will create everything for you. It will take its time and let's see what it generates. You can actually also tweak the design as well. by providing the names of some animations like GSAP or something like that, frame motions, etc., so that it can help you to develop something more interesting. But it's good for the first start. And one more good thing about VO is that you could just directly deploy it. You just need to create a Vercel account and it will actually deploy it. You don't need a hosting service or any domain because it self-hosts, and its free version is really good, so you could just deploy it really easily and share it with your network. Obviously no one is gonna buy that site because it lacks a lot of things. It lacks psychology, it lacks content, it lacks design that actually sells, and most of the time it's actually the psychological aspects. That's why your landing page will not sell or do better. So that's why we'll be making another video of how to actually create a landing page that sells, that you could create as a freelancer or something like that. But it's not gonna be for vibe coder, it's gonna be for developers who need to just fast create something. So it's gonna be for them. For vibe coders, you could actually do is that you could take a good course about web development so that you doesn't lack anything or forgets anything. Alright, vibe coders, and now our website has been developed. As you can see on the screen, it actually developed a good website. I wouldn't say it's not bad, and if you tweak it little more, you could actually sell it as well. Yes, you can. It's not that bad. It's actually a really good website. You just need to add some psychological touch, some tweaks to design, some good testimonials. No, you can. And then actually it's a good. You just need to next time I will actually share with you how you can actually set this inside a VS Studio Code. That's actually called an IDE, where we will be setting this same code, and then I will help you to tweak something so that you can use it for yourself, for your own business, or you could just sell it to someone else. I don't know, it's up to you. If someone wants to buy it, if it was 2018, yes, definitely someone would have actually bought this, but in 2025, no. You need a psychological touch. It's not up to the mark still yet, and that's something we can discuss later on in next videos or something like that. But it's good, actually it's good now for it's good. Now, as we are in the end of the video, I have no sponsor and I have no course to sell you as well. So what I will be asking for you, that if you are someone who wants to get their website designed or developed by our team SHD, you could contact us. You could contact us through the mail that's present in the description. And if you are someone who wants to develop their own stuff, you could follow the video again to check it, and in the next part we'll be discussing how you can just set this into your Visual Studio Code and can deploy it. Alright, till the next time, bye.